race tied to Elvish magic. In fact, it takes its name from elves. Basically, they are extremely diverse but have a general outline similar to a human, to similar proportions. Slightly longer canine teeth and differently shaped ears which lack lobes and have a point. Those ears are first example of elven diversity as they range for essentially human ears with slight point to the back, to long tapering ones proportional to an elf's head as a rabbit's ears are to a rabbit. Other than that, elves vary greatly in height, between 1 to 9 being usual variation, but 6 feet is generally the most common height. Sexes: 45% of elves are female, 45% of elves are male, 4 are constant hermaphrodites, 3% are sequential hermaphrodites, and the last 3% is sexless. Hair and skin color, as well as possession of additional features such as antlers, wings, hooves, or tails. Elves are often considered beautiful both as a result of their physical appearance as well as their latent glamour. Elven minds are peculiar as they possess great wisdom, mercurial attitude, insatiable patience, as well as great individualistic attitude. These qualities were present in every elf. How much of each one an elf has can vary greatly. Elves are objectively superior at what they do, which is often described as such. While an elven warrior would win 9 times of 10 in a fight against a human warrior will not burn water trying to cook a meal. In other words, elves tend to be very specialized in what skills they have. This leads to them often being elitists, which coupled with them being distrustful of strangers, make them seem as bigoted towards other races. However, that is not true, and elves treat members of other races that are members of the social group the same as elves of the same social group, while foreign elves are treated sometimes even worse than foreigners of other races. Elves have a tendency to crave conflict and are often very promiscuous. Elves are also prone to having beliefs about life taking it to a level that seems to be absurd, often advocating for empathy for bacteria causing deadly disease that can kill the advocating elf on the principle that the tiger that has many rights and the rights and defend business right but must have and demanding funereal rights for the deceased being cured. Most elven societies are tribal, living in harmony with nature. However, the tribes are still the most technologically advanced on the planet, due being to ties to elvish magic. The magic of nature. Like most magical races, they are descendants of this magic form entities, in this case, Kami. The form that Kami that will eventually evolve into Elves was extrapolated from early hominids, so they are remarkably similar as base to Adamites. They are humanoids with 2 arms ending in 5 fingers, as well as 2 legs that usually end in 5 toes. However, there are subtle differences. Elven bones are longer and thinner than humans, their joints are much more elastic, and their canine teeth are longer. They often also have additional features, and depending on the biological subrace, they can have, for example, avian wings, bat wings, antlers, horns, hooves, a tail, and many more bizarre bodily traits. Elven brains are divided like dolphin brains, which like in dolphins means they do not need to sleep. However, in the case of elves, they are better off if they do. Elven eyes are dodecachromatic, while monochromatic. While 3 receptors found in Adamites are the most common, they also possess near-infrared, 2 shades of orange, yellow, chartreuse, cyan, 2 shades of violet, and near-UV receptors. Elven blood has hemoglobin inside red blood cells and hemocyanin free floating in plasma, making it purple. Innate elven eldritch magic gifts are regenerations, however they cannot grow lost limbs. Regrow. Ability to perceive the spirit world, innate glamour, dominion, a preternatural knack at doing things tied to aspects of biological life, which can, with training, become the ability to manipulate these aspect. Each elf has 3 dominions as births, but can develop up to 6 more. Ability to gain elan by acting in accordance to the elf's nature. Ability to consume elan to gain a small amount of sustenance. In addition to this, individual elves possess between 3 to 6 additional gifts which can vary greatly. Subraces. They are 10 cultural subraces of elves. Dark elves, the most cruel and intellectual. Deep elves, most magically gifted. But elves, most horny, being a pornocratic society. White elves, most common and warlike. Sea elves, most chaotic. Night elves, most seductive. Ice elves, most secretive. High elves, most civilized. Sun elves, noblest. And finally, moon elves, most technologically advanced. And they are at least 9 biological subraces of elves. The gods, noble houses whose members possess additional magic power. The Scratches who are unusually highly sighted for elves and very tall. Lyosulfur, who have natural enormous sense. Cuckoo elves do not look like cuckoos. They name has more to them with seeing babies and replacing them with their own children. Svartalfur, who have an unusual dark skin for beings that tend to avoid light. Their skin is often pussish, or sometimes even darker, sometimes the color of tar. Some bruises or heavy frostbite. Lifesuckers who possess long, sharp claws, which they use to puncture skin of other beings to drain their blood. Connerheads possess elongated or enlarged cranium. Silver elves who have always very pale skin and white hair. Golden elves who have golden skin and hair. Satyrs who are horned and have paternal knack for singing and dancing. Builders here a predatory subrace who have very tall skin and tall muscles, as well as mouth that is pretty wide, which is also visually sharp teeth and set to slide by noticeable green. They also sometimes have horns. They are essentially gods of hand. Mermaids have 2 elongated fish legs instead of legs and can breathe underwater. Pogues who have traits of various animals and are able to take the form of various animals. Cat elves have additional ears as well as tail, which resemble that of a cat. Like cats, they possess ability to influence other beings with sound they make, and are able to use glamour to enhance this ability. Wolves who have lupine traits, sometimes to the point of actually having slightly humanized wolf heads. Cervines who have deer horns and other tails of deers, as well as ability to turn invisible. Selkies, who are a race of seal-dwelling elves with seal features, an ability to assume the form of a seal. Banshees have an innate precognitive ability to sense death and are ethereal. Peris, who possess a pair of large avian wings and are often deeply religious. Nymphs, who are bind to natural environment and possess innate dramaturgy. Also, they are ethereal like banshees. Green elves possess plastids, especially in the skin, and sometimes have anatomical features resembling plant organs. Pixies are some of the smallest elves, being really taller than 2 feet. They are extremely fast and sometimes have insect wings. Leshy have blood, a mixture of plant-animal features, and as well as shape-shifting abilities. Forest devils have horns and hooves and ability to control decay. And finally, Hulder who have empty backs and possess tails. Genetic and reproduction. Elves reproduce sexually and usually give live birth. Elves have lower fertility than humans on average and have longer pregnancies lasting for 12 months. Elves have 5 possible sexes: male, female, constant hermaphrodite, sequential hermaphrodite, and sexless. However, not all sexes are found in all elven subraces. But in subraces which all are present, the ratio is about 30, 36 male, 36 female, 18% constant hermaphrodite, 1% sexual hermaphrodite, 1% sexless. Elven sex determination schema is different than mammals, meaning homomorphic, homosomal, and depending on 2 genes. Growth rate and stages. Elves mature on a different rate than humans overall. The maturation is similar, but elves tend maturing faster than humans, but then it slows down. Generally, it could be described as y equals in quote in brackets x divided by 10 to x divided by 10 squared times 10, in which y is comparable to elven year and x is comparable human age. Elves are age gracefully, grey hair and very few wrinkles, even on their deathbed. How long elves live varies and is dependent on their Eldritch power. The minimum is 200 years and the maximum is theorized to be around 5 million. Behavior. A basic aspect of an elf's mind is their nature, which, unlike most other races, varies greatly. For example, while each Adamite has the same social predator that evolved from herbivore as basis of their mind, an elf can be an ambush predator with tendency to deceive, or a nice and friendly farmer with tendency to care for others. Unlike most other races, nature is also significantly higher influencer of psychology for elves on average. Elves have a tendency to hyperfixate on things. Elves often have special interests which are very specific. Another aspect of elven mind is the tendency to perceive things as gradations rather than the dichotomies. Morality. Elven morality is incredibly complex because, unlike in other races, when there is a single morality aspect, they have five in the elves: beauty, expression, balance, experience, and principles. Beauty is hard to describe and is subjective, but could be described as the better at evoking emotions and complex it is, the better something is. There is no evil in the concept, there's no evil equivalent in beauty, only essentially it starts with 0 point and then goes up. There is no negative value for beauty in alphas. In other words, there is no ugliness, only banality. Elves also do not hunt people for not having beauty, simply not care for a not beautiful thing. It should be noted that beauty is not only limited to physical appearance, but also to mind, as well as not only limited to things that spark joy, but also other emotions. The only basic emotions that do not make things beautiful are anger and disgust. And so are the diets and trials and equal about. But diets and trials of them can make things beautiful. Shouldn't is to put in simplest terms, they need to express themselves. Elves need to have anything they do be done artistically with as much beauty and with as much accordance who they are as possible. Balance can be described as logically it's essentially the need for every economy to be in golden mean for things to be done for the best. It is tied to ancestry as aspect of nature. Experience is basically they often need to experience things, but any experience is good, but the best is the one that endure that leads to individual improving as a person. Principles are basically a personal codex of ethics that an elf possesses, and to a lesser extent an elven cultural traditions. One that is universal among all elves is aversion to lying.